Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, we have all you need to know about a new budget proposal from Governor Ned Lamont and a rundown from the annual State of the Union.
Coming back to campus, we have more on how Quinnipiac is honoring Black History Month and news from across the nation.
And details from an inspirational speaker on campus, plus a look at a local bakery with specialty desserts.
All that and more coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
Good evening and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Julie Barcella.
And I'm Sydney Weimer. A yearly Quinnipiac event was recently held to ensure the student body is satisfied with university operations.
Earlier tonight, Quinnipiac Administration and the Student Government Association held the annual State of the Union.
One of the largest question and answer events of the year, Q30's Evangeline Crosley has more on the story.
Multiple Quinnipiac administrators were in attendance to answer student questions at the State of the QUnion, an annual town hall type forum run by the Student Government Association. Chief Experience Officer Tom Ellett, Vice President for Facilities and Capital Planning Sal Filardi, Provost Deborah Leibowitz, President Judy Olian, and Interim Vice President of Inclusive Excellence David Freisen, joining over Zoom, spoke on topics ranging from diversity to new dining options. The SGA president started in with some questions asking about the DEI efforts made by the Office of Inclusive Excellence. Freisen shared what the office is working on to listen to minority students' concerns.
We, on a daily basis, work with trying to present programming, trying to present conversations, our critical conversation series, for instance.
The floor was then open to student questions. Ella addressed dining on campus and spoke of his plans for a new dining option, similar to the fuel-up station currently in the Q Cafe.
We would still have points for, say, Bobcat Den, but then we would have a ability to have an all-you-care-to-eat facility on the campus as well.
The South Quad was also a big topic of conversation at the address. Leibowitz shared the plans not only for the new buildings, but also what would happen to the now open space in existing ones.
The intent is to have that be a building that brings together a range of programs that are co-curricular but student-facing.
Parking concerns were also addressed, with emphasis on the fact that when construction is complete for the South Quad, much more parking will open up, both on campus, like where the modulars currently are in the CAS parking lot, and off campus.
In the past, we've done some off-site parking in some of our parking lots that are just a little bit off campus. It's all pretty much offline for contractor parking, contractor storage, so once we finish the buildings in a few more months, so that'll be cleaned up.
The event rounded out with the announcement of the winners of all raffle prizes, from a Dyson Airwrap to a TV. All of these administrators asked students to speak one-on-one with them about issues they think need to be addressed on campus, and with office hours opening in a little under a month, that can get started very soon. Reporting from the Mount Carmel Auditorium for Q30 News, I'm Evangeline Crosley.
Another big university event is just 2 months away. Qthon is beginning to hold events to promote the dance marathon. Just yesterday, the organization held the February Walk in Their Shoes event to spread awareness of Connecticut children's. They sold lollipops to help fundraise.
Now for some statewide news that could impact residents. Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont has recently announced a new budget plan.
The budget will allocate more funding to childcare, pre-K education, and special education. Andrew Allison has the full story.
Ned Lamont, the governor of Connecticut, proposed a new budget for the fiscal year of 2026 to 2027, totaling $55.2 billion. A highlight of the budget appears to be boosting childcare and pre-K education, including special education and providing free meals. The plan also increases Medicaid rates for caregivers, as well as tax on corporations and transit fares. Specifically related to education, the budget contains $500 million for the construction of new schools, $14 million for special education programming, and $40 million is subsidized support for kids in special education. Interestingly, Governor Lamont emphasized removing cell phones from classrooms in his biennial budget address.
Superintendents are working hard to get the smartphones out of most of the classrooms. Thank you for that. And our budget provides resources to store those phones at the beginning of a phone-free day in phone-free schools. Remember those yonder pouches?
Lamont cited a commitment to higher education, criticizing the White House's attack on higher education and its freezing of federal grants, calling them short-sighted and damaging. Lamont also emphasized the removal of certain licensing fees.
College or not, we need you here. It'll make it easier for you to stay here. I say that to nurses and dental hygienists and therapists and electricians and plumbers and HVAC and sheet metal workers and teachers. We're eliminating all your licensing fees.
The governor admitted that severe flooding in the Naugatuck Valley caused a lot of destruction to homes and businesses, but said he has plans to update their flood map and get insurance companies to provide flood insurance. Lamont ended his budget address with a hopeful look into the future.
America's a symbol of hope and opportunity. That's what makes us strong. That's what makes America great. These are the values I will fight for every day.
What comes next is a 4-month-long debate with lawmakers over the budget, and the Connecticut General Assembly will create a compromise plan in early June. We can only guess how changes in national government will affect Connecticut's budget. However, Governor Lamont's new budget aims to prepare for the unexpected. Reporting from Tater Hall for Q30 News, I'm Andrew Allison.
Sydney, it's been gorgeous outside with the snow, and I hear we're supposed to get more this week.
You know what, Julia? I've also been hearing rumors of some upcoming snow. I wonder if it'll impact Valentine's Day.
Thankfully, we have Beckett Calkins here with the forecast for the rest of this week. Beckett, will people's plans still be on this weekend with the impending weather?
Yeah, guys, Valentine's Day plans should remain on for this weekend as we take a look at the upcoming 3-day forecast today. High of 36, low of 33, a little cloudy, windy out there on the quad. Got a little bit chilly. As we head into tomorrow, temperatures are going to rise up to 44 degrees, but there's going to be a little bit of precipitation, starting with rain and then getting over to potential snow overnight as it's going to dip down in the upper 20s. Heading into Friday, Valentine's Day plans, 35 degrees on Friday, kind of a sun cloud mix, and low of 20 at night. I'll have the full 7-day forecast later on and the map of Connecticut. Stay tuned after break.
My name's Stacy, I'm 57, and I was adopted in 2020. One teen can come in and make you look at life in a whole different way.
You know, he's my father, so I look up to him a lot. If I can be 10% of the man he is, I'll be a happy person for sure.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back to Studio 125. February marks an important time of year to celebrate African American culture and history.
Q30's Jack Bergman spoke with the Black Student Union and asked them how Quinnipiac is honoring this month.
This month, we celebrate Black history and culture, and there are plenty of ways to get involved here at Quinnipiac. The Black Student Union works diligently to create a safe space for students of African descent and allies.
Coming to a PWI and not having that Black community, we've come together to make sure that we can build one for students who haven't had one or have had one and are missing that. So that's really what our initiatives are. So we make sure that we have events that are educational, we have more fun events, we have our fashion show, so that's more like performance art-based events.
The BSU hosts a fashion show every year with Black culture and style fully on display.
I think that the fashion show is really important because it is our most viewed event. I think that it's a really good display of not only just Black culture, but we have a lot of other people come and do our shows or come and see our shows, which is really great. It gets our name out there. So I think that that's always been my favorite, a fan favorite. And then also our Black Student Union block party that we do at the beginning of the year because it brings a lot of the freshmen of color together, and that's like their introduction to the Black community. So it's really great to be able to do that.
We're also trying to get more people on campus of color to participate in these activities because we find that it's really important to bring more people together.
To learn more about Black History Month, The library also has a display of former BSU members and other prominent people of Black history.
Students celebrate Black history, not just in February, but all year long. Reporting from Arnold Bernard Library for Q30 News, I'm Jack Burke.
Washington, D.C. has been a busy place over the past month. There has been political movement impacting the world.
Brianna Trachtenberg has the details.
Thank you, Cindy and Julia. On Monday, President Donald Trump signed another executive order controlling more tariffs. Trump imposed a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports into the United States with no exemptions or exceptions. While the United States does get most of its steel from Canada, Mexico, and Brazil, the tariffs are indirectly aimed at China. In his announcement for the tariffs, Trump said, quote, "This is a big deal, making America rich again," end quote. A Trump administration official said the new tariffs will help eliminate loopholes that have helped some importers to game the system. The United States consumes tens of millions of tons of steel and aluminum a year to manufacture products like cars, appliances, and canned goods. The new tariffs could lead to a price increase on the production of these items and more. This past Friday, a federal judge placed a block in President Trump and Elon Musk's plan to dismantle the U.S. Agency for International Development. U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols placed a temporary halt on the plan to pull thousands of agency staffers from their jobs and blocked an order that would have given overseas workers 30 days to move back to the United States on government expense. Nichols felt both moves would have exposed U.S. workers and their families to unwarranted risk and costs. In the rush to shut down the agency, many workers have said that the Trump administration has cut off communication systems used to reach the U.S. government. Nichols has also ordered USAID workers who have been placed on leave to be reinstated. Taking a deeper look into the Department of Government Efficiency, it has recently raised concerns as it gains access into the Treasury Department's payment system. DOJ's recent drastic actions to cut government spending has caused previous Treasury secretaries to warn that it could pose a danger to the U.S. financial system and the U.S. dollar standing in the world's reserve currency. They also worry if whether or not Elon Musk and his staff has used any safeguards to protect the sensitive information they access to prevent any cybersecurity issues. Experts warn that the U.S. financial system is delicate and complicated and could be harmed by unilateral moves. Now, that is all I have for political news this week. Cindy and Julia, back to you guys at the desk.
Quinnipiac hosted the CEO of a well-known tea brand on campus this past Tuesday.
Cindy Bigelow of Bigelow Tea spoke to students about the importance of a healthy work environment and much more. Ava Heaton has a story.
On Tuesday, February 11th, Quinnipiac's Dean of the School of Business, Holly Rader, sat down for a fireside chat with Cindy Bigelow, the president and CEO of Bigelow Tea, in the Mount Carmel Auditorium.
What I try to tell my team is we make 2.3 billion cups of joy. And I really do mean that. We make 2.3 billion cups of joy. It's a moment for you. It's a moment for your family. It's a moment for a friend.
Bigelow Tea is a family business, and the CEO emphasized the significance of that fact.
I do think in a family business, you have the opportunity to truly understand your impact on the culture. You need to really recognize the value of your employees in a way that it's so beautiful if you do it right.
She also added how important shareholders are to her and how much she values them.
You know, I call my shareholders our employees. Like they're what I consider to be. So if we have a good year, they're going to get a bonus, but if they have a good year, I can also just take an extra, whatever, just give that out as an extra bonus to the employees because it's a family business.
Being a CEO as a woman, Bigelow also spoke about the challenges that come with that and how it impacts her management.
I really try to think of myself as a CEO, blessed to be a CEO, work hard to be the best CEO I can be that also happens to be a female. As a female, I have a more sort of maternal style.
After the discussion was over, any attendees were also provided the opportunity to ask questions. Reporting from outside the Mount Carmel Auditorium, I'm Ava Heaton, Q30 News.
On Tuesday, a series of adulting workshops began for students to attend on the York Hill campus. Held at On the Rocks Pub, this week's workshop featured tips on meal prepping, a cost-effective way to make healthier decisions, save time, and spend less money. 2 more adulting workshops will be held on February 18th and March 27th.
In Hamden, the high school is experiencing some complications. Over the past year, it has had a variety of issues raising concern about the school's safety. Earlier today, I went to Hamden High. Here's the story.
The high school behind me, built during the Great Depression, needs more upkeep than most buildings. Over the past 4 months, the high school has not had a working public address system. The PA system was broken by a power outage in early October and has not been fixed. This has raised concern amongst the school's community because Hamden High is not able to communicate critical information during emergencies, according to one parent who spoke at a recent Board of Education meeting. Last year, the building dealt with a mice infestation and broken down elevators, but the faulty PA system poses a big safety issue because it prevents administrators from communicating with the building's occupants in a timely manner. The Board of Education meeting handed Superintendent Gary Highsmith assured that the school, quote, has a plan for emergency situations. Q30 reached out to Highsmith and Principal Eric Jackson, however, we have not heard back. Reporting from Hamden for Q30 News, Julie Barchuk.
Now looking ahead, we have a full 7-day weather forecast with Beckett Calkins and some more Valentine's Day news.
We also have news from across the country. Now it's time to sell some ads. We'll be right back.
Owen, when you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
We didn't know what the future would hold, but we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Now, Julia, we heard about the forecast for Valentine's Day, but I'm curious how the weather will impact the rest of the week going into the next week.
Hopefully the second half of the week will have some nicer weather. Beckett, what do you have for us?
Now taking a look at the 7-day forecast, jumping over to the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Going to be a little bit of snow on Saturday, expecting about 3 to 4 inches here on Quinnipiac's campus. High of 34, low of 32. Could dip into a little bit of a snow-rain mixture on Saturday before it's going to be all rain on Sunday. High of 48 as temperatures approach 50, low of 23. Monday, Tuesday, weather's going to get a little bit nicer. Little bit of sun peeking out of the clouds on Monday and Tuesday. High of mid-20s each of those days, but it's going to be a little cool overnight between 11 and 14 degrees. Now we're going to take a look at the map of the state of Connecticut here. Weather pretty much the same around the state, mid-40s, a little bit of rain, snow mix. Mostly rain across the state, though Torrington could see a little bit of snow as temperatures there dip into the mid-20s overnight. About mid-40s across the rest of the state. Stamford 44, Danbury 45, New Haven and New London in similar temperatures. Hartford, the lowest high across the state of Connecticut at 41 degrees. Temperatures at night is going to be mid-20s pretty much across the board. That's all I've got today for weather. Thanks, guys. Back to the desk.
Moving across the country, there have been concerns in warmer places like Hawaii due to natural disasters.
There has also been disease outbreaks in the south, as well as private aircraft collision. Thankfully, Christina Semenes is in studio with your full national news update.
Thanks, Julie and Sydney. One person was killed and others were injured in a plane accident in Scottsdale, Arizona on Monday afternoon. A private jet owned by Motley Crue singer Vince Neil veered off the runway as it was landing, colliding with another jet that was parked on the runway. It was reported that the left main landing gear of the arriving jet failed, causing the collision. Neil's representative has since extended the singer's thoughts and prayers to everyone involved. The Scottsdale accident comes after 3 major aviation disasters in the past 2 weeks. Moving to the Pacific, in 2023, a wildfire in Maui, Hawaii killed more than 100 people and destroyed thousands of properties, causing an estimated $5.5 billion in damage. A settlement was announced last summer, but insurance companies held out. On Monday, Hawaii's Supreme Court ruled that insurance companies can't bring their own legal actions against those blamed for the fires. Hawaii Electric, the power company blamed for sparking the blaze, is reportedly on the brink of bankruptcy. This ruling resolved a key roadblock to finalizing the deal and sends the case back to a Maui judge to determine the next steps. Moving back to the mainland, 15 measles cases have been reported in Gaines County, Texas, mostly in school-aged children. Texas law allows children to get exemptions from school vaccines for reasons of conscience, including religious beliefs. In Gaines County, nearly 14% of children from kindergarten to 12th grade had an exemption in the 2023-24 school year, which is more than 5 times the state average of 2.32% and beyond the national rate of 3.3%. Vaccination rates have declined nationwide since the COVID-19 pandemic. Before the measles vaccine was introduced in 1963, the U.S. saw 3 to 4 million cases per year. Now it's usually fewer than 200 per year. That's all for national news. Now back to the desk.
Across the nation this weekend, love will be spread celebrating Valentine's Day. Last night, the Student Occupational Therapy Association for Handprints and Sunshines held a Valentine's Day card-making event for patients at Connecticut Children's. Attendees were able to write cards using cardboard and colorful art supplies to make heartfelt cards. Now, while handmade gifts are sometimes the best, people are still spending this Valentine's Day.
That's right, Julia. There are so many ways to spread the love. So thankfully, we have Samantha Shaw in studio to tell us just how people are spending their money this Valentine's Day. Sam?
Thanks, guys. Finances are always a hot topic, and with Valentine's Day coming up, that is especially true. According to the National Retail Federation, experts have predicted an all-time high on Valentine's Day spending this year, expecting to see a record total of $27.5 billion spent, with the average shopper expected to spend roughly $189. Approximately 56% of people plan to celebrate Valentine's Day, and Capital One Research anticipates that men will once again outspend women by nearly double. Vested reports that the top 5 most popular expenses this year include candy, flowers, greeting cards, a night out, and jewelry, making up $14.6 billion. The rest of the nation's spending consists of consumers buying gifts for friends, pets, coworkers, and even a treat for themselves. Now, looking back at the Super Bowl 59 this past Sunday, ad sales generated over $597 million in revenue. Commercial spots ran for $8 million apiece, making it the most expensive TV spots in history. Peter Bray, founder and executive creative director at Bray & Co., told CBS Money Watch that, quote, "It's the advertising industry's Super Bowl as well. It's the one time of the year where the general public actually cares about advertising, so it's an exciting time," end quote. With that being said, this hefty price tag is not the final cost for companies. The Hollywood Reporter found that the average all-in cost for this year's commercials ranged from $10 to $20 million, with A-list celebrities earning $3 to $5 million for their star power. That's all I have for this week. Back to you guys at the desk.
Julia, the recent cold temperatures have been a real inconvenience. Not only do I have to wear multiple layers just to stay warm, but I've also been more mindful of my daily habits to avoid sickness.
I've definitely been making sure to take my vitamins to stay healthy. According to the Center for Disease Control, there has been an estimate of at least 25 million illnesses so far. There have been 13,000 people who've lost their lives to the flu this season.
Symptoms of the flu include vomiting, fever, cough, and a runny nose. If you experience any of these or start to feel unwell, be sure to get checked out by a medical professional.
Now we have our final break of the night. We have all you need to know about Quinnipiac athletics after their busy weekend and a local bakery looking forward to this weekend.
We will be right back in 30. Stay tuned.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes. Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right? I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. And you realize that you're not alone. Once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here.
Wait.
What?
I can't drive.
Why?
My.
Oh.
Well, you can.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back. Hockey is the big name sport here at Quinnipiac, and this past weekend was no different with alumni and current athletes in action on the ice. Apparently, a guy named Colin Graff is good at hockey, according to my roommate.
And the high-seeded men's basketball team took on Niagara in a nail-biter of a game. It's a good thing we have others who know sports, like Ben Rekavicius. Ben?
Thanks, guys. Starting at the professional level, former national champion and Quinnipiac men's ice hockey superstar Colin Graff scored his first NHL goal on February 4th against the Canadiens. Graff becomes the fourth Bobcat to score in the NHL. The 6'1" forward was called up to the San Jose Sharks for the first time last season and registered 2 assists in 7 games. This year, Graff has played in 13 games for the Sharks. The Lincoln, Mass. native registered 43 goals and 65 assists in 75 games for the Bobcats. Graff and the Sharks in action next this Saturday against the Calgary Flames. We'll keep it on the ice as the Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team look to make it 4 in a row against the Clarkson Golden Knights Saturday night. First period action, Clarkson's Ryan Bottrell opens up this one with a goal, his first of the season. Bobcats, though, will strike back with 2, including this night from Victor Chernescuner. Quinnipiac up 2-1 after the first, but in the second, Ellis Rickwood beats Dylan Silverstein to tie it up, and Tristan Sarlas plays hero in overtime for the Golden Knights. With the game winner, Clarkson downs Quinnipiac 3-2 in overtime. The Bobcats fall to number 15 in the USCHO poll. Finishing up on the hardwood, the Quinnipiac men's basketball team looked to battle against the Niagara Purple Eagles on Saturday in the only meeting between the two this season. Last 5 minutes of play, Bobcats by 7. Jaden Zimmerman with the baseline slam, give him 11. But Niagara's not going away. A few possessions later, Jaden Marshall ties it up with 3, and then Justice Smith adds a 3 of his own off this quirky jumper to give Niagara the 3-point lead. Last chance for the Bobcats. Amari Monroe puts up a prayer from the baseline, doesn't go, and the Bobcats drop this one 76-75. They make the trip to Fairfield to play Sacred Heart on Valentine's Day. That'll do it for sports. Back to Julia and Sydney at the desk.
Now, to something more up our alley. With Valentine's Day approaching, some people prefer flowers as a gift, others jewelry. Personally, I enjoy a nice sweet treat.
I second your opinion on the sweet treat. A local bakery, Sweet Siders, has some specialty baked goods for Valentine's Day. Q30's Miranda Patorti visited Sweet Siders and has the full scoop.
Sweet Siders is a nationwide cookie business based right here in Hampton, Connecticut. The inspiration for the business came with a simple college care package.
So I sent her 24 cookies every month her entire freshman year, figuring that she wouldn't be able to eat all the cookies and she'd have to share them, which she did. So this was an easy way for her to, have a prop to go make friends at school. So she'd walk down her dorm hallway and she'd say, would you like a cookie? My aunt made these cookies. And it became a thing.
After sending cookies with many different family members, she decided to make a business out of it.
So we started Sweet Siders as a college care package program to help kids, get adjusted to school, to help parents stay connected. And that's where the Share a Cookie, Make a Friend logo, tagline kind of came from.
Unlike most businesses, the pandemic helped Sweet Siders to grow to new heights.
People had heard of us from all of our different college programs, and they started reaching out to us. Can you do this cookie? Can you do that school? Can you do this? I need to help my child celebrate their graduation, high school, college, kindergarten, everything. And the whole business just blew up from there.
These aren't just normal cookies. These are pieces of artwork based on current events and holidays.
It comes from just about anywhere. Sometimes like the football cookie for the Super Bowl came about because I remembered as a little kid playing football on our desks with those little paper triangles. I was like, so we can try doing something like that. And I was like, yeah, that's not really going to work. But I said, but let's do the field and see what that looks like.
The Bake Shop has many specialized offers for Valentine's Day this week, whether ordering in person or online. Sweet Siders will be open from 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Valentine's Day, so there is still time to get a sweet treat for your sweetheart. Reporting on Whitney Ave for Q30 News, I'm Miranda Patorti.
Now, Miranda was able to actually bring us one of those cookies from Sweet Cider. So, Sydney, happy Valentine's Day, and here's half.
Thank you, Julia. I'll be sure to save this one for later. But with that, it's time to wrap up this week's Q30 Newscast. For live updates and all things Quinnipiac News, follow us on Instagram at Q30 Television and on X at Q30 News.
From all the producers and everyone working hard behind the scenes, thank you for inviting us to your home. Good night and stay safe.